So, Rabbi, nice shirt.
Thank you.
You must have been on vacation.
I was in Philadelphia.
Well, when I think of Philadelphia, I think of shirts like that, obviously. But it does bring to mind the question about religion and vacation. And, my mother, wherever we went on vacation, there had to be a church or someplace where we did mass every Sunday. We were let out of that. We still said grace at dinner, and we still had to follow the 10 Commandments and be good Catholic boys and girls. But as I started going on vacation myself in my older years, I did not always attend church on Sundays when I was on vacation. Of course, being a good Catholic, I could always go to confession and wipe away that sin. But I wondered about Judaism. Is there any time when Judaism goes on vacation when you don't have to be as strict a practicer of
That's a neat question, because in Judaism, we don't have any sacraments, and Mass is a sacrament. And the church, the Catholic Church, the Roman Catholic Church, has a set of criteria that has obligations. Judaism is an obligation of life, of living, of how you structure your life, as opposed to a single event. So without the sacraments, you can't point to something and say, well, you committed a sin by doing that, but you'll confess it and understand that you won't do that again, that you'll attend weekly Mass. Without that structure, Judaism is something you do with your life. You're dedicating it to God's teachings. That means that there are times when it can't be done. For example, during World War II, South Pacific, I'm a Marine. I kept kosher at home. Now we're on one of those islands that either doesn't have water or there's very limited drinking water. Food, we get whatever we can, and it turns out that it's Spam. Well, you're required to eat Spam. The kosher rules, given the context, and context is important, doesn't apply. I'm in combat. I need strength. There are other men in my unit depend on me. So if I'm weak and not eating, I can't protect myself or my men. Therefore, I'm required to eat the sustenance I need. Again, it's context, and I haven't committed a sin. If I find myself in another situation where I can't go to services or I can't observe the Sabbath, in the concentration camps, people lit Sabbath candles, they said prayers in secret when they could. However, when it was life-threatening, you didn't do it. So if you want to use the word holiday, you certainly can. However, it's on a particular context, and it's focused on what are the rules we're talking about. Is it appropriate to take someone else's life? Yes, self-defense. You are actually required, if the choice comes down to, you see someone pursuing someone, and you have the ability to stop them. And if the only way is you do it, but you don't just walk down stand on a overpass and shoot people in cars.
Well, that's a Stephen King vacation. I was looking more along the lines of, is it appropriate to relax the rules when you are doing something where, whether it's in a context or not, where like I feel like taking a mental health day, so I'm not going to go to temple and do services or.
See, but you never have to go to temple. It's not a sacrament. You go to temple because you feel like being with people and you want to. Prayer is open all the time. There are blessings we say all the time. So there's no obligation. One could spend one's life and never step foot in a temple, never go to services. You're still a good Jew.
And you can eat an egg roll every now and then if you're in Chinatown on vacation?
As long as you are not strictly kosher. And this is, again, part of one's lifestyle. And those are choices we make, is I decide I'm going to be kosher at home, but not outside the home. But that's not Orthodox Judaism. Orthodox Judaism has a very strict line and says you keep kosher in and out. Non-Orthodox Judaism says you have to sit down. What does it mean to keep kosher? What does it do to your relationship with God? And if having a kosher home fulfills your obligation and you're okay with that, we say that's fine. So we do have to make a distinction between the degree within the religion itself. And that's a choice you make. Like, am I going to be a Marine or join the Coast Guard? How strict do I want my life to be regulated?
Or to put it into terms that our viewers might be able to relate to a little more specifically, if you have an interfaith relationship and one of you comes from an Orthodox Jewish family and another comes from a strict Catholic family, there's a lot of compromise and conversation that has to go on, and you've had experience with that.
And it's all workable. The problem being we choose not to discuss it. And that's when problems arise, as opposed to sitting down and saying, I'm more on the Orthodox spectrum of Judaism. You are Roman Catholic observant. Now, how do we establish our home? It can be done, and I do it with people all the time. However, when people say they're having problems, it's because they're not discussing it. That's the problem.
And it's not really a problem according to the religion. Well, at least according to Judaism, because I know Catholicism has strict rules that, as we mentioned before, can't be broken, and you can't be Catholic if you're going to, unless you do all these things. But you can be Jewish and still not do some things because it's all about your personal
relationship. Remember, there's no word for sin in Judaism identical to the Roman Catholic. The word in sin in Judaism is hate. It means missing the mark. You know the right thing to do, and you didn't do it. You missed the mark. What do? You evaluate. You go, oh, okay, I'm going to pay attention next time, and I'm not going to miss the mark. And there's no heaven, there's no hell, there's no punishment, there's no bad. It's what does it do to my life? So if my wife were Roman Catholic and I was not so much an Orthodox Jew, but more observant, we would sit down and say, gee, your religion doesn't allow for birth control and mine does. What do we do? How do we live together where each of these religions is saying something that may be in conflict? And the couple has to decide if they're going to, the Catholic person agrees that, well, in this case, I will practice birth control because this is how I view the church's view, etc. Or we're going to have lots of children, which is nothing wrong with that. It's a decision. But I keep coming back, Joe, to the problem is we don't want to put this on the line, don't want to look each other in the eye and say, I have to go to Mass either Saturday night or Sunday morning. And then for the Jewish person, say, okay, doesn't hurt anything, not a problem. And I need to keep kosher in the home and not bring in any non-kosher foods. Okay, we can do that. Most of the time, it doesn't require any real, I don't want to say real sacrifice, that's not the right word, anything hazardous. It doesn't involve anything bad. So you agree not to bring non-kosher food in the house. Where's the harm?
Right. And in the end, where's the harm in any of it, whether you follow the rule or don't follow the rule, whether you're taking a vacation from the rules for a moment or not? It's all about your personal relationship with the one.
Yes. How do you relate to the one? And how do you live with someone whom you respect and love? You have a relationship with someone. So you don't want to do things that mock their beliefs or that actually hurt them spiritually. And that becomes our criteria.
Well, you're my favorite criteria, Rabbi, and I hope I can maintain that relationship with you and never take a break from it, unless I'm going to Vegas.
And I can assure you that we're going to continue to have our relationship and our recordings as long as we're both physically able.
There you go. Take care.
Bye-bye.